Hello! Welcome to episode 117 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard, still on my phone, not on my computer.
And every week, despite having no internet, Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to travel through time. We are actually in the Stone Age right now with no internet. Steven, how is this still possible? Every week, we do our best to overcome our various obstacles like this one and get something done. Most recently, we've been working on a freaking supernatural action comedy comic book called Deathless. And Steven, we printed this thing. We are ready to ship it off. We're basically waiting for your internet so you can print up those labels and stuff. But we've been doing freaking awesome. We actually brought the books to a convention for the very first time this week, and it went so well, dude. How are you feeling?
Feeling amazing, dude. Obviously, it's the best convention we've done in terms of sales, in terms of interaction. We got to see old faces like we met the first time, like Meg and Edwin. We saw Edwin again. I mean, it was just an all-around amazing convention. It was just great.
It was fantastic. I want to talk about that in a second. I'm gonna steal, since our friends at our friends that Don't Make It Weird, they like to steal, things from us and our show. They have a whole kind of Build Buddy segment that they do. If you haven't seen the Don't Make It Weird podcast, go check them out. I'll post links below. But I'm gonna take something from them, Steven. Every time they have like cool stories, they do a little thing where they hint at it. They're like, I'm gonna do a little tickle of the pickle, because they do this whole thing. It makes sense for them, but for us, it's just sexy. But Steven, you had a little run-in with a substance that, to my mind, was fictional. A substance that we all imagined as kids, seeing it in cartoons and children's books and movies, would be more of an issue than it is in our everyday lives. You had a substance with it. Steven, you just give us like a little tickle of what that story's going to be about?
Here's how I'm going to do this story, too. Anthony, I want you to do a quick reintroduction of yourself. Say hello.
I'm Anthony, and
I'm Stevie, the Quicksand Kid.
And now that we did our little tease, I'm gonna get right into this story, Steven. I can't wait. I need a instant gratification. I am not the Don't Make It Weird podcast. I love them. They do it right. They know how to market stories. I'm like, do I need you to say the whole time? I wish you would, but I want to hear me. I want to hear the story right now. I need to hear this from you.
All right. So Twas the night before Thanksgiving. Twas the day before Thanksgiving. And on the construction site, Stevie was working diligently, and his pants were oh so tight. He was walking to the front, and he noticed saturation. And his boots, they absorbed the sand. And I don't know what I can rhyme
with no hesitation.
With no hesitation. Within mere moments, his boots went down to his thighs. He didn't know whether to laugh, be angry, or cry. So I got stuck in some fucking quicksand. So here's what happened. So basically, what I just said, we just got to the job site, Ricky and I, and this job was gonna suck. The superintendent totally gave us this heads up that it's gonna be. This was already towards the end of the day. This one will be quick. Just go over there. It was not quick. We didn't do it that day. We prepped most of it for the following day, for Friday. So I'm going back out to the truck to get a shovel because we have to mix mud and all that. And I noticed that the ground's wet. But construction sites, grounds are always wet. I mean, like sprinklers, you name it, the ground's saturated. But seriously, dude, when I stepped on that ground, I went like mid-thigh, almost crotch deep into this muck within like 0.25 of a second. And I was like, Ricky, help. And he was just stood there like 20 feet away.
The dumbest Atreyu you could possibly have on your side.
Like, yeah,
the worst.
He was not saving our tax. He was
looking
like,
back at you like, looks like, what's going on, man? What's going on? Are you got something on your shoe? What's going on? And you're slowly.
You just die by yourself. Like you're not even going to see how worried and sad I am for you as you suffer. So,
you want to drink or something, man? What's going on? Like the apathy and indifference. It's amazing.
So, thankfully, because I was walking, because like you're a fool if you walk in the center. So I always walk in between the lots slightly. So thankfully, I was able to like kind of put my arms on like the sod because the house we were working on, people already lived there. So I mean, it was fully sodded, everything. So I'm like doing, dude, and I'm telling you, like I do have a lot of upper body, and I'm pushing off the ground, and like my leg is not coming out, dude. Like it was like literally the worst Chinese like finger trap. I don't even know if that's still okay to say, but like it was the worst suction gadget I've ever seen. Are you kidding me?
Uh-oh, what happened? And then he was gone to the quicksand. The quicksand of time. It came back. Revenge! Revenge of the quicksand. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him live. Let's see if we can. The quicksand came back for more. Uh-oh, you're sideways. What happened?
Oh.
There it goes.
There we go. Siler called me and it completely ruined everything. He called me from Facebook Messenger. That for some reason that's was like, guess what? I have complete control over everything on your phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. On Facebook, priority is mine.
Metaverse. So, anyways, so I'm pulling myself out. My leg is like suctioning down, like so insane. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I mean, this is all happening within 5 seconds. But eventually, like, I start gaining ground and like I get it out and I jump out. And, like, that was fucking crazy. And then, like, Ricky like walks up. I'm like, he goes, I was gonna take a picture. I'm like, glad I can count on you, Ricky. Like, I was like possibly going to die.
Go back in there. I have to go get my phone. I need you. I didn't figure out my phone yet. I was about to take a picture of you as you died. It was going to be a nice panoramic shot. That's just crazy. I can't.
Like, I mean, like, dude, like, you see someone fall, like, crotch deep, mid-thigh deep into some muck, like, immediately. Dude, and I just want you to know, it's so funny how trauma responses work, and, like, it's not funny, but it's just crazy how your mind links to things, because when I was 2 years old, two and a half years old, my dad took me fishing, and it was low tide under the Matanzas Bridge, which is, I think, Fort Myers Beach. It might have even been Matlacha. It was one of the bridges, and I walked underneath it, and dude, I got stuck in the mucky beach sand that was, you know, where water usually is, and like so much so that my uncle Jason actually had to come down, and he couldn't pull me out, and he pulled me out so hard that my boots got left in the mud. So like the way your mind connects things, like the moment I fell in, that's where I was. I was
like, Jason.
Yeah, I was and my Jason was going to take a picture. He was not going to save me at all. Like, yeah, it's so crazy how my mind did that. It was literally the first thing I thought of was like, oh my God, this is just like, because my boot was kind of coming off my foot as I was trying to pull it out. And I'm like,
oh, it's amazing, dude. It was so, it sucks, but it was so funny. Like, it was like, what a perfect situation, because I mean, we use the metaphor of being trapped in quicksand a lot with like the darkness and like the depression, things that happen, all of the stuff we've been through lately. And here you are, literally getting trapped in quicksand the week we have our most successful convention and have like this amazing Christmassy miracle and just all this great stuff is happening.
The irony, right? I mean, like, you so often describe like our pitfalls as quicksand and avoiding it, you know, and now, like, the universe is just like, okay, you know what? Fuck metaphorical quicksand. Here's some real quicksand.
Just to show you, you guys are good. You can survive anything. Here's some actual quicksand for once. That was nuts, dude. It was so funny. I needed you to tell that story as soon as possible because it just like it was cracking me up to just think about it.
It's so funny because all the artistic pictures I've posted, even the ones that the Deer Hunter band themselves have shared, like. Dude, this tweet has like quadrupled like my highest post. It's just so funny how things going mildly viral work. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
It's amazing. I mean, like it's really hard for me sometimes to not take some things personally where I'm like that was amazing because it's an authentic, sincere moment. It's a thing that happened to you. You just said, "Hey guys, look at this weird thing that happened," and people are like, "Oh my God, that happens!" It's so funny that we're all thinking. You know, I love that. Those are my favorite kind of like viral moments on, you know, because I'm like, oh, okay, that wasn't something that like I feel like I've done a version of that but I failed, like, you know, that was just a thing that you posted and people just loved it, and I love that stuff.
It is cool.
Yeah, dude, and like today, okay, I'll give you like a petty example, like a, like just human pettiness that exists in my heart, Stephen. Like who I am as a human being at my core. It's someone I saw a post by someone who was like, I wish someone would make movies like blah 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 blah, and they just kind of pitched an idea, and it wasn't like a great idea. It wasn't terrible or anything, but it was just one of those like, here's a general idea, and they didn't give like a clever title. They didn't give anything. They were just like, oh, it would be cool if this happened, and they got like 4,000 likes on it. And I was like, I post all of these like movie ideas that are actually fun, entertaining ideas, and I tag them with like funny titles and puns that you can't like sometimes can't figure it out as you're going, or maybe you can for fun. It's but they have a punchline and everything. Never once have I broken 1,000 likes on any of them. Not once. Like,
it's the way, dude. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. Yeah. It's so crazy. And then there's going to be the one that just catches the right tailwind and just freaking soars for no reason. Like,
yeah, it's nuts. And like as much as I say, like, I like recognizing it and like being aware of that pettiness and being like, all right, well, I think I'm not mad. It's not like I hate them, or I think like, like I'm not like, oh, they're not as good as me. I just think like, oh man, why not me? Like for a second, and I just recognize it. And I'm like, all right, okay, I'll keep trying. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Although I did notice that I had a moment of pettiness, like a couple months ago, where like someone was like celebrating. They're like, oh, I have like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube now, and I was like, and this was like before we hit 1,000. I was like, must be freaking nice, like,
I have a crumble, sir.
And that's pretty much what I said. Like, I kind of like jokingly was just like, oh, like what I would do, like what I would do for this. I'm getting depressed at this point. And he just unfollowed me, and I was like, I get it, but also, how dare you? How dare you? No, it was funny. It just, I think those of us who are willing to be honest with ourselves can admit to like some level of like pettiness on social media sometimes, where it's like, why not me this time, dang it, but like you said, it's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes it happens for us, sometimes it doesn't. It's just whatever. However, dude, this week the cookies were crumbling like gold, like just raining over us, showering us with those just chocolate chips, like just like everything was coming up Millhouse. The convention was phenomenal. Like, we had a great time, I think. I had a great time. I thought you did too, especially since you were pitching way better this time, like talking to people and actually like selling the book way better this time. And like a huge part of that was the fact that you were feeling way more yourself and like healthier. Like last time you were kind of like on the mend and like recovering from a sickness. And you were like, I could tell you were like withdrawn a bit and just tired. You didn't really want to be there as much, This time it was like just hanging out for freaking 7 hours, 8 hours, and just talking.
Yeah, just chilling. It was with a bunch of like nerds like us and selling our book. The prints helped draw attention to the table, like Deadpool especially. Deadpool was getting a lot of love, and yeah, man, like it was just awesome. Like the amount we sold quite a few issues, and so like that's just exciting. I hope, hey, if you read our issue and followed the link in the back and found us, hello,
welcome again.
This is us. Thank you so much. It's awesome, dude. And I think the moment I had for me that was like really cool at the con was there was a guy 2 booths down that was selling his graphic novels and his comics, and he's got a very awesome like traditional style art in his. It's like all really looks very professional, really clean. He was out of Tampa, and he may even be watching this episode. And I should grab his book, but anyways, he was like, he sold me his book. I bought his book, and I was like, I'm right here. I'm gonna go grab my book, and I sold him our book. And then like he was flipping through the pages, and like it was a cool moment for me because he literally like this dude that has a bunch of impressive like artwork in his books opens like to one page and shows his buddy the artwork, like how impressed he was, and it like made me feel so good. Like I was like, such an awesome compliment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was amazing. You did such a good job in Deathless, and I totally get like there are some I mean, I like what we always kind of strive for in the pages is making it as dynamic as possible, you know, and that's like we talk about that all the time. You are getting so much better and better and better as you go and evolved in at like layering like your angles and like putting in just the panel out, like the panel overlays and everything. It's all gorgeous, and I can see like, of course, he's gonna look at it and think it's good, but it's so cool that you got to watch him do it. You know,
Yeah.
like that's I
A
love that.
complete stranger, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That's what like is so cool. Like, not that
Oh,
I don't appreciate the like our amazing friends on Twitter or anyone we've met. Like all those compliments are like that's what keeps me going too. But like
oh
it's
yeah.
just cool to see it happen in front of you like that.
Yeah, dude. I also I had a hilarious moment at the freaking convention, Steven. Okay, so Steven and I, we take turns. Steven like goes outside and get some fresh air, hangs out, goes to get water. I like get up, I walk around, go to the bathroom, whatever. And we take turns at the table, right? So one of these times, Steven's watching the table, and I'm like, I'm gonna go support some indie creators. I'm gonna say hi to our friend Edwin. I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna go see who else is here. I'm gonna say, oh, Meg's here. I'm gonna say hi to Meg, and I'm just gonna like talk to our friends. So I'm walking around, and then I'm like, okay, let's try to find some new comics. Like local people, Florida comic creators just like us, and see who we can support. So I'm walking around. And I talked to Edwin, and then right next to him, there's this guy, Brian Covington, and he seems like a really cool guy. I'm talking to him, and I think his daughter, and we're all just like we're talking, and they have like it was really funny because I could tell like while we're talking, that moment that happens where like it stops being like a pitch, and you're just having a conversation about stuff, and you could tell like you kind of broke through like together, and like we're not doing this like sale thing anymore. We're just kind of talking about comics and like what is this book? Like, I'm actually interested. You don't have to do the thing, like, let's just talk about it.
Oh, you're
So,
a person.
yeah. Oh, you're a person. Yeah. So like we get to the point where like I'm just a person, he's just a person. We're just talking about this book, and I could tell that like the woman he's with is trying to kind of do the like hard push sales still, and I was like, this is really funny. I like that this is happening. Like she's like, don't forget to sell the freaking other thing, like, and I can see it. And I'm like, but at that point, I was like, I'm gonna buy everything on your table. Like I already knew that. I was like, I already like you. I already like your story. I like what you're going for, and I want to support everything we can. So I was like. And I'm just having a great day, so I'm like, I'm gonna run this table, so I'm sitting there, and I already told him this, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take, I'm gonna take 2 of your novels and your comic. So he's sitting there and he's talking to me about it, and while we're talking, someone gets pretty close to me, and I'm just like, hey, like excuse me, and he's like, so this guy's like, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, and I think he's gonna talk to this guy and like ask for a book, so I'm like trying to get out of the way, and he's like staring at me, and I'm like, what
what do you want from me?
What do you want from me, man? I'll give it to you. I'm sorry. Whatever. I'm sorry and I love you. Whichever one you want to hear first or both. I don't know. So
I'm sorry, I love you.
I love you. So I shout I love you at him. I call him mom 3 times. No, so I'm just like, hey, and he's like, I'm so sorry to interrupt. And then he like extends forward, and I notice that he has Deathless in his hand. And he's like, I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you please sign this for me? And I was like, and I looked at like Brian Covington, and I looked at this guy, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm so sorry. Hang on one second. Yeah, no problem. And I took the pen or the Sharpie, and I signed it. And I was like, here you go. And he's like, yeah, your friend over there told me that you wouldn't mind signing it. I really appreciate it. So I put the pen in my pocket, and he left. I was like, oh no, thank you so much for buying the book. And he leaves, and I turn around and like just look at Brian Covington, and I was just like, I had that moment where I was like, oh man, that must have looked so freaking cool. Like, I was like, I look like someone who people actually want, to get an autograph from. That's neat, It was just so funny. Like it felt like I paid someone to do that. There was no way. It was so fake. It was so weird.
It was like my it's like insane fear because like this dude's like, I will buy one of everything on your table. Like that's freaking awesome. He's like, can you please sign that? I'm like, I totally can. The writer's not here right now, but I can sign it. And he's like, oh, okay, I guess that's cool. And I signed it, and I'm like, and I looked, and I saw you talking to Brian, and I was like, that dude in the bright purple shirt is the writer. I'm gonna give you the gold Sharpie. Just give it to him when he's done, and then we're all good. And then like that's basically what happened. Like I was like, I want this guy to get what he wants. He deserves it. He bought everything at the table. It's really cool of him, really supportive. So I'm like, what can I do to solve this problem? I can't leave the table. But
Oh,
luckily, so like, but yeah, dude,
that
create
was
one of the most like hilarious, epic moments
it
ever.
was so funny. That was like it was the second most famous I've ever felt in my life. The first most famous was when I was like early 20s. They where we live they do a thing called ZombieCon, or they did for a while before people ruined it, and also, sicknesses and such. But ZombieCon was just like a huge convention where this was an excuse to go to a downtown area, drink, and dress up like a zombie, essentially. So I went to ZombieCon and I dressed up as Waldo, like the Where's Waldo, but Where's Waldo zombie. And it was just absurd how much attention I got that night. Like impossible.
You're the celebrity of zombie
It was,
content.
dude, at one point, like, I remember walking and, like, people were like, oh, Waldo, there he is. And everyone said the same three lines, just like, oh, I found you. Oh, I was looking for you everywhere. Oh, there he is. And it was just like everyone separating. And I'm just like spinning my cane, just like walking like Waldo. And it's just like, this is crazy.
People love it on you.
Yeah. And I was just like, that's probably, I peaked there, Steven. I was never to be seen again. No one will ever find that Waldo zombie again. But yeah, this was definitely second most famous I've ever felt. It was crazy. It was so, but it was great, dude. But it was such a good convention. Also, Steven, something I noticed about this convention that I hadn't noticed in previous conventions. There was a shocking amount of spider dicks, like a shocking amount of Spider-Men. Now I noticed this because I was staring forward. Steven's drawing, and I'm just staring forward, sitting. Crotchal region, and so I'm looking, I'm just glancing around, and I noticed 9 out of 10 of the Spider-Men were not wearing dance belts. Steven, I could tell they're, like I could see the cut, the shape. I can see everything. Their religion. Yeah, and I was just like, it's so funny. Okay, so I bought a Freakazoid costume. It was like a full spandexy Freakazoid costume, and I was like, "This is awesome! I can't wait to be Freakazoid with my son. I'm gonna be Freakazoid. It's gonna be the best Halloween ever." And I put it on, and I was like, "I'm never gonna wear this in public in front of anyone, especially children."
This is strictly for that one person I meet that is an absolute Freakazoid fanatic, and they're gonna lose their mind.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you're interested in my Freakazoid OnlyFans content, the link is below. Like it is beyond PG-13. It is insane. It is definitely an NC-17 rating. You're not allowed to wear that in public, and you shouldn't. No one should. And also, Steven, I know we're not teenagers anymore, right? Like we're not. It's not like we're randomly like. We rarely have to worry about sitting up and offending anyone with our bodies. You know what I mean? Like you ever been like, when you're in school and the teacher's like, "Can you get up and solve this?" And you're like, "I can't do that right now in this moment. I'm gonna stall for 15 to 40 minutes. Like just do nothing. Like I'm gonna hold this book in front of me." Like there are things that happen in your body when you're younger, that you can't control.
I do not miss that. Like, and that is something people do not. I mean, they might talk about it a little bit, but like,
I know,
man, like it would just happen.
It would just happen, and that's what that's what I'm saying. Is like, okay. Now, what I'm gonna say is gonna be. So I'm gonna. I know we don't get political here. I'm gonna say something that's slightly controversial, and it's just that there happen to be a lot of sexy people of all sorts walking around comic book conventions sometimes. I know people, when you hear that, you're like, yeah, right, nerds. No. If you go and look at cosplay, go look. There are men dressed up in like these sexy barbarian type costumes and all sorts of things. There was a literal Tony Stark walking around who looked a lot like Robert Downey Jr. Like, it's insane. And then of course there are the gorgeous women walking around with like their just entourage of people, and it's just like there's a lot of like sexy people being sexy in the area, and they're trying, and like sometimes it's succeeding. And I just imagine if you're wearing a thing and it's possible that you're wearing these tights, Steven. I just imagine that, like, if there's any amount of movement, it's just so noticeable. How are they so brave? They're so brave. Like,
they have to be going like full commando, right? Like, why aren't you wearing boxers, bro?
I don't. I mean, if they were wearing boxers, they were very. I don't know. I don't say. It's just. It's amazing to me. I was impressed. I was impressed by the bravery, Stephen. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, but it was several, Stephen. I noticed several. It was a fun day though. There were a lot of costumes where I was like, "Oh, I'm old and I don't get this because that's like a new anime thing, and I only know like 5 anime, and they're all old and no one cares about them."
I'm like the most basic bitch when it comes to anime. Like it is like so like I know just enough. Like just enough to where like they might not be able to sniff me out, you know? But like if they start rambling on about One Piece or something, I'm screwed. Like I'm like I want to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
36 or gonna
yeah, dude.
36.
You're gonna yeah. No, you're gonna be 36. I'm gonna be 37, Steven. Steven, we've gone through.
Yes. Tina messed me up because Tina says I was gonna be 37. That's why. It's her fault. It's my wife's fault.
Steve and I are very old. We are old people who just don't know how old we are anymore. We don't know what's going on.
I'm old. We became the very people we sought for the podcast.
Oh yeah,
we are the
you are the grandpas now. Yeah, yeah. For those of you who weren't with us from the beginning, we require you to find everyone you know who may not have the greatest handle of how their technology works. Find their phones and just subscribe to our podcast. Just take their phones and be like, oh, let me help you out, and you are helping them out by helping us out. And you know, I mean, when we're happy, your grandma's happy. That's just the way of the world. I have no grandparents left, and I need your grandparents to love me. So help us out.
I mean, isn't that like a crazy thing? Like neither one of us has any of our grandparents alive. You know, like it's pretty cool. Not cool.
Yeah,
pretty crazy,
Steven. And that's why I murdered your grandparents. What, Steven? I wanted us to bond over this, so I committed homicide. Wait, no, Steven, this is not how life works. What are you doing? This is awful. No, it is, you know what's, speaking of petty, I'll tell you this, Steven. I don't know why I'm sharing my petty thoughts with people today. This is what grinds my gears. No, this is what another example of Anthony recognizes that he's human sometimes. Is like when I'm at work and like I'll talk to like an exceptionally older customer. If they're mean, one of my thoughts inside that I never actually say is, "How did you live and my grandpa died? Like my grandpa's so sweet. Like why you? We needed more of my grandpa, my grandma."
That life for you live. Like
I know.
What allowed you?
I know. And it's just like they're living based on spite. My grandparents had too much love going on. Like I don't know. The world was too much for them. It's crazy. But how many old people would I murder to get them back? All of them, Steven. Every single one. It's old people.
And we would lie to ourselves. We would lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that they're vampires and they have to go.
They have to go. Sorry. Okay, it's a grampire. It's just what it is. Oh man, I did like I was thinking recently that I was like I haven't been doing pitches get stitches as much lately, and maybe I should do some of those. And I did think of one, but I was like I don't know. We have so much to talk about this week that I'm just gonna hint that pitches get stitches is coming back. It's coming back hard. We're gonna do this.
It's gonna be the best pitches get stitches he's ever done ever.
No. Let's just build it up. Just build it all up, and we're gonna just not give you any of that resolution until the future happens. Oh man, but it has been an interesting week. It's been a really good week. Honestly, dude, I'll tell you. So I was looking at my bank account and I was like, oh, I have made some horrible decisions recently. I was like, oh, I
backed a lot of Kickstarters this summer. And like it's starting to chalk up. I'm like,
yes, okay.
Because I always try to give especially when the people that we care about. Like I always try to give like a good portion,
Yeah, dude. So that's pretty much exactly what happened to me. Where it was like I was planning on giving only so much to a couple of Kickstarters that were active, and then both of them were having issues, and I was like, okay, a little bit more for everyone, and I was like, I'm stretching myself, and thankfully, those Kickstarters were successful. Everything's good. Not so thankfully, I was like, maybe I gave a little bit too much, and now I don't have as much food in my house. I need to take care of this. Oh no! And it was okay. Like as far as food and stuff, we're okay with basic necessities. But then I was like, I need money for Christmas. Like all of my bills are coming up, and Christmas is coming. And holy crap, I'm not doing great. So I was like, what am I gonna do? So I opened up. I was like, I will do commissions. If you want me to draw pictures for you, I'll draw pictures. I'll do silly voices. I'll write songs for you. I don't, I was like, like I'm gonna go on the side of the street and busk, So I was doing the thing. Like everyone, like anyone who has to like tighten their belt a little at some point, you start doing the thing where you just like start taking the inventory of where money is coming in and where it's going out. It's like doing your you're balancing your checkbook. So I was like, oh wait, Patreon. I was like, I get Patreon money every month. Usually, like a chunk of it goes toward like our podcast hosting money payments and stuff. But otherwise, it's like I get a little bit of money for spending hours and hours editing and all that stuff. And I'm like, ha ha ha, Steven, this is what you get. So. No, but I try to like post stuff on there whenever I can. But I was like, okay, I should have. I think it's like $80. I was like, I should have $80 coming any day now. I was like, I don't know when it is. I haven't been paying attention to like the actual date of that, when I get it. So hopefully it's soon. Okay, let's go check that out. So I went on Patreon. I'm looking for a date, and I was like, I don't see it. Where's the date? Like I'm looking, and then I click on a thing, and it's like payments, and it says, it says a number, and it says withdraw, and I was like. What do you mean? And so I look at it, and Steven, I literally have never withdrawn any of the money from Patreon. Steven, the entirety of my time, like doing Ranthony Rambles and like all this stuff, and like posting like polls and giving like early access to stuff and doing all this, people were giving money and being like supportive and awesome, and our patrons are so cool. We have like this really neat little colony, and it's just. I don't know. I'm really thankful for that and thankful for them, but I've at no point taken that pot of money and done anything with it. I've just been sitting there unbeknownst to me the whole time. And I didn't know that. So here I am just like, I have this little chunk of money that's literally saving my Christmas. It is making my Christmas.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It is a Christmas miracle. My own incompetence just completely saved the day. Like I was like, I've never failed so spectacularly in the best way possible. Like it is amazing that this happened, and I was so thankful, dude. I was so like, I can't tell you. Like I ordered stuff for Atlas for Christmas, and my brother's son, and like I already got like I'm like it feels so good to actually not. It feels so good to not have to worry this year because I was worried this year. I was like, well, my son's about to learn about a very modest Christmas. Like it's here it comes.
Hey Atlas, you know how we dress up for Halloween and we have a good time? Well, this year you're gonna be Tiny Tim and Scrooge and your father at the same time. I screwed myself out of money that I rightfully deserved.
That's exactly what happened, though. That's pretty funny. But dude, I mean, that was just a Christmas miracle, and then we had the convention, which was like overwhelmingly positive, and it was just a great time. We got to hang out with Edwin. Then we we got to have drinks and like talk and just like be friends with Edwin. It was so great. I wish Meg would have joined us, but people are busy, But
people are. You had a friend with her that time too, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's true. But dude, I had so much fun. I just can't wait. I did want to, before we like start wrapping up and stuff, what do you think we learned this time from this convention that like we can implement next time, or like, what do you think we could do better?
I do feel like if we just continue this trend of confidence, that we're going to do better and better as we go. Creating a group purchase deal was a really good strategy, and it got people to spend money and also get a little bit of everything we have, which is just future advertisement for us too. If anyone ever sees, if that guy hangs his Deadpool print, where'd you get that?
Yes.
And he's gonna be like, I don't know, some guy at a convention, and it's not gonna amount to anything, but still, it might. No, I was kidding.
Yeah. I really think we talked about this. We talked about this at the convention, but like I do think that we should start kind of focusing on getting prints, like more prints out there, because people really love them, and it does draw people to the table. And we did sell books to almost everyone who wanted a print, especially
Yeah,
since the deal is so good. And not everyone is. I mean, I, I feel conflicted to a degree, like lowering our prices to such an amount, you know, like to selling prints and such. But honestly, dude, we're capable of doing that, and I feel like it's benefiting us and the people who want the art. And so I kind of prefer it. I'd rather keep doing what we're doing than kind of like. I don't want to be convinced and swayed by the artists around us to, you know, charge a certain amount for our art. And I think, you know, we're getting a decent amount for what we're doing, but we're also I think like what you said, I think we're being smart about it, because we are marketing our whole, like our entire careers with every piece that we're doing.
And you know what though? Like at a convention, we pay to get into that convention and everything, but you know these people that are coming to these conventions have to pay a pretty steep
Yes.
like. So, like, in my opinion, they should get some sort of bargain from you. You know, I mean, it's not your responsibility. It should be you know, the organizers. But I like that, like, because people come in there probably with a set amount of money they're going to spend, and if you can get your products out there in their hands, like for us, it's not just. It really isn't, and it's not just selling the comic; it's selling everything about us. So that way we make more friends, we grow the colony so that we can just fully rely on people that are in our circle to fund the comics and get the comics and get our jobs, and then we can, you know what I'm saying? It's all part of the plan, and it's all working. It's just slow and steady wins the race, and patience, you know, like we'll get.
And it really is. I like that this convention definitely validated all of our predictions as far as like the slow stepping like evolution of the perpetual passive income and such. Like as we get more books out there, as we do, you know, do more prints, as we have more stickers available and more merch and more stuff, and as we do have, you know, more episodes, everything is, you know, like escalating, you know, to a degree. And I hope, I believe that as we get Deathless out there, especially once it's a collection in a graphic novel form, or, you know, a trade paperback form, I do think our sales are just going to continue to leapfrog over each other, and it has been so far, you know, like and I really love the fact that we are kind of like diversifying our genres on our table as well. Like we have a sincere, serious, like more personal story, and we also have this like action comedy horror, you know, adventure like story. And I love that. I love that people can choose from either, and it's great. And I like that, like there was one lady who was like, I don't want to be sad, give me this one. And I was like, yes, that's perfect. We just like that's literally the technique I use on my son, where I put something I know he doesn't like on the plate to eat for dinner, and I put something I know he doesn't love but will consume next to each other, and I'm like, which one are you gonna eat? And he's like, oh, definitely this one. I'm like, ha ha ha, I didn't care which one you ate. You know, like
either way, you were getting a healthy dose of vitamins and carbohydrates.
Exactly. Yeah. So it just like it's been working out. I love that we're selling more. This convention we sold way more than I anticipated. I don't know why. Like I wasn't being negative about it. Like I knew it would be fun for us, but for some reason I think it's because they don't advertise these conventions very much locally. So like when I talk to people at my work and I'm like, hey, are any of you guys gonna go to this, you know, this convention? And everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about, idiot. And I'm just like, okay. You know, like it would be nice if anyone knew this was happening, you know, like if anyone knew about these conventions, it would be great, you know, because when I mention it, thankfully, when you mention it to the right people, they're like, oh, there's a convention, cool. And then they go, but you don't want the people at the tables to be the only ones marketing a convention, you know, it needs to have like a you know, broader net cast over, you know.
There's no reason that you can't, like,
yeah,
it's crazy. We need to try to get into MegaCon this year.
Yeah, we should. Actually, we should just start now. Yeah.
And then that, you know, well, let's try now, and then that would be like a whole weekend, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think you and I would just have to go.
We have to get everything, but I think that's cool, dude. That's obviously the next step, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
We got to up our convention game. We have to. we do a really good job via Twitter, via YouTube to reach people across the world, across the United States, but we really do need to start planting those flags in at least our home state. And then from there, like Edwin does, Edwin comes from Miami.
Or we get on Fiverr. We get on Fiverr and we find two guys who look exactly like us. Two guys who look exactly like us, and they go to these various cities. It'll save us, Steven. It'll save us on flying time. It'll save us in hotel rooms. We pay for the table and we get them to go, and they just go and they just do us. They just like shake their arms around like this, and they're like, it's a sad book and a good book and us man, and then like, and then that's it.
I'm sore.
What if we just give them? We give them each 3 lines. We give them. It's just like the Woody and Buzz. Like it's just like somebody poisoned the water hole. Just like he just keeps saying the same thing over and over. Oh man.
I'm Steve Wild Cart. No, not a cart. Vroom. What?
It is funny. It's like doing these conventions has been so interesting, and like it's because it's like a form of performance, you know, to a degree. It feels like doing a live show sometimes, where it's like you have to be in front of people and then like trying to sell the book, but you also don't want to be like in their face. You have to read the room and kind of see like who would be interested or wouldn't be interested, who's avoiding eye contact with you, and who you think like might actually purchase something, who's just not paying attention,
and who's like accidentally getting ignored by you because you and your bestie are having a conversation. It's like, hold on a minute, okay, we're talking over here.
I mean, there were a couple of times where we were talking, and I literally didn't want to engage with the person who actually came up to the table, and I was just like, okay, fine. Like I get it. Like I want to be like, I want to talk to everyone and do what we can, but you can tell sometimes when someone's not actually going to buy anything, and you're like, we're in the middle of talking about Power Rangers right now. Like I want to hang out and talk about this, but okay, fine, it's fine. This is what we do. And then they're like, oh, no, thank you. I'm like, we know that. Keep walking. but we
knew you weren't ever going to drink the Colony Kool-Aid. Like, never. Dirt is not your favorite flavor. And I mean, it's not anyone's favorite flavor, really, but
it grows on you. There was that one time that, so I was about to go to the bathroom. I had to pee so bad. But for some reason, I saw this guy, and I was like, you're going to buy our books. And he walked over. Do you remember the guy in the Disney villain shirt? And he walked over.
Awesome shirt, by the way, if you're watching the podcast.
Yeah, if you read our books or you're just watching this, you're like, let me see those losers who called me over and made me buy the book with weird charisma magic. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. But it was so
Anthony
funny.
Basically D20 for charisma to barter, and he just rolled a solid 20.
It was so funny. I was like, I want to persuade that guy, and they were like, all right, roll for it. Boom, 20. All right, gotta pee. And I was like, we sold the books. He left. It was so funny. It was really fun. That whole convention was just such a good experience. And I got pizza and tacos and like you know shrimp and fries and beer, and what a good day. What a good day.
There's just a bunch of awesome food and awesome people.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so every week we talk about, you know, what happened to us this week, what we were trying to do, and at the end, we're here, Steven. Here it is. What are we doing this week?
I really need to make some progress on Deathless number 2, so I'm gonna push Deathless 2's at least the first 2 pages, because I do have your second draft, I believe, of the script that you've sent so far. And I know that first little arc is going to be, you have plenty there. So I want to finish the cover, and I want to work on that. Awesome. I did get some work in on the cover this previous week, but all things considered with the convention and everything, I didn't get much accomplished. So.
Yeah.
But I will be pushing this week. So
awesome.
How about you?
So this week, I mean, I'll talk about it next week when I actually have a story about whatever happens. This week, we signed Atlas up for some sort of multi-sports thing that I don't know how it's going to go, and I can't wait to find out. Like, I am so excited. It's going to be
He's like, Dad, this thing is not my jam.
I'll take him out of it. Immediately, I will. I have no qualms with it. Like I play it. So I played football as a kid, as you can tell by my noodle arms and predisposition for violence and loving football. No, like I have nothing against football, but like as a kid, I wanted to draw. I didn't want to play football at all. It's whatever. And when I got to the point where I was like, "Can I please not do this anymore?" My parents were like, "Not an option. We already paid this money. You're wearing this costume, and you're gonna go get hit a bunch and have fun." And I was like, "No, I don't wanna." I would have loved if my parents were like, "Oh, you don't like this? Let's get you out of that and do anything else." Like that would have been great. So
literally,
yeah. Like God. So if by the way, so this was his idea. He was like, "Can I play soccer?" I was like, "Sure. If you want to go play soccer," because we play soccer out front together, and I think in his head he's like, "Oh, if I could do this with other kids, it would be great." And I'm like, hopefully, like some of the kids, yes, like, but you're gonna see, like, being social and like dealing with the general public is real weird. It's a real mixed bag.
Fast.
Yeah. So that escalated quickly. Atlas killed a guy.
Capable of these emotions.
So this week, on one of the days, on a Wednesday when I'm supposed to, Atlas is supposed to go with his mom, I'm going to take him to go do the sports thing, and I'm going to be there. So that's going to take up like a chunk of my time, but then after that, I'm going to come home and I'm going to get some writing done. And then Thursday, I'm going to have all to myself, and I'm going to get some writing done as well. But dude, I can't wait. I can't wait for this. It's going to be ridiculous. Like, it's going to be so funny. But this week, I'm going to try to get another 3 pages done. I think I only have like 5 pages or 6 pages left to finish the whole book. But I'm just gonna shoot for 3. If I get more, then heck yeah, like I'm gonna do what I can. That's what I'm planning. I also, what else did I want to do? This week I also finished mixing that D&D song. I think it's gonna premiere next week, maybe. I don't know when it's going to premiere, honestly, but go check out Critically Stupid on YouTube. I'll post the link below. So far, people seem to like it, which, like, I'm so thankful for. Now, Steven, I have 2 successful podcasts, Steven. I have 2 successful podcasts. Like,
you're just kicking ass and taking names.
Oh,
and you're all bubblegum.
All out of bubblegum. But that's what we're doing this week. Let us know what you're doing. Tell us in the comments. Tell us on Twitter. Tell us on Facebook. We're all over. You can find us on twitter.com/wehaveissuespod. Steven's on there. It's at Stevie Wildcard. I'm there at Anthony Lafusi, of course. All of our links are going to be posted below. But thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you, JD, for reminding me just about every single week to post the audio for the people. And I'm sorry, audio listeners, that I'm a little late sometimes. I get busy and I'm stupid and I fail. I fail a lot, Steven.
Or failing upwards.
I'm doing it. I mean, I failed my way into a miracle this year, so that was fantastic. I got it. I got that Patreon like Christmas failure miracle, and it was beautiful. But I'm so thankful. Thank you so much, Steven. Thank you for doing this for me, and thank you for everything. You were awesome at the convention, and people freaking love you. I have no notes. Everything was great. I can't wait to do it again. It's gonna be amazing.
Absolutely. You're amazing too, and I love you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope your son butt at soccer.
I hope so too. I can't wait. But thank you all. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie, the Quicksand Kid.
And this has been We Have Issues. See you next time. That's an angle I've only seen a couple of times. I'm just not used to this angle. I'm all for it though. I like what's happening here. Here we go.
Hold on, let me brush my hair out.
This is pure Patreon. Like, whoever gets this should be paying so much money right now.
I still have my hairspray in, so I was just gonna brush it out real quick. So hold on. Of course, there are no brushes because my children are monsters. There's one. I have 3 brushes in this house, and I have none. I was just about to brush up my hair when you were talking about. It was pretty cool. It came in as an alert on my phone. So, here we go. So how's life?
Oh, It is good. It is good. I feel like it feels so good to be buying Christmas presents and still have money. It's very nice. It's
Speaking of this footage, Patreon subscribers, thank you so freaking much for supporting us because like you literally gave us a Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
You gave Anthony.
It's freaking insane, dude. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm gonna talk. We'll talk about it a little bit on the podcast. I love how like what I'm ascribing to a miracle is just my own incompetence. It's like, oh yeah, I failed to do a thing. I failed to do a thing, and it's a miracle. If only. I mean, I guess that does become a miracle when you're someone who like constantly overthinks and just like panics about things. So it's like the one time I wasn't paying enough attention, something fantastic happened. You'd think I'd learn a lesson.
What I learned is to not pay attention at all.
Yeah,
That's off.
Do less. Just do less. Speaking of, did you see my post about forgetting Sarah Marshall?
No.
Well, I wrote. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so forgetting Sarah Marshall is a Christmas movie because
What?
the weather outside is weather. Like,
Okay.
there's no other reason for him to reference a Christmas song. No one sings them outside of the Christmas time. And if you are singing Christmas music, it's Christmas movie, right?
I mean, what else would he? I mean, Paul Rudd's character was pretty wacky in that, but
Right.
but still.
Yeah,
But-
just the idea. He's singing the tune of a Christmas song. I'm going with it's a Christmas movie. There are also miracles involved, so it's fine. Oh man, this is like a whole.
What's crazy about it though?
Oh, what's up?
It's almost it's more than a Christmas movie. It's almost like a Nightmare Before Christmas, where it's a Halloween and a Christmas movie
because you get
you get the Dracula play too.
yes.
So it's like the other movie that does that, you know?
It's yes. It's I mean it's perfect. There's a couple unicorns.
Sorry, Patreon. Oh no.
This is. Uh-oh, you're frozen. Oh, there you are. This is the angle that only Tina and I have ever seen.
Oh my god, I locked the screen again.
Stop.
Alright. You better not come to my earth.
Do you remember? Do you remember we had that one episode where you and I both had the realization that people who have seen us naked have seen our body parts from angles that we're just not used to seeing? You know, it's like
I mean, the parts of us, like I mean, like I've never seen my gooch. You know what I'm saying?
I've never taken a mirror and been like, you know what I need to examine? Where's Waldo? Let's find him. He's in there somewhere. Like, no, I've never.
I don't know what my own butthole looks like if I'm on.
I mean, I'm imagining it's spectacular, Stephen. No, it has to be the opposite of that thing. It has to be it's Jumanji in there. There's no chance it's acceptable to human society. Like,